Hey friends, in today's video I want to talk about a great way to farm Artifice armor this week, and then I'll break down what I'm doing in my Destiny item manager to prepare for next season. So first things first, why Artifice armor? Answer is because next season you will have an additional slot at the end like this, except instead of artifact mods it's going to be a +3 to any stat, and that will help tip a build. Maybe you're like on the strength 24, you want to use 2 Artifice slots, +3, +6, and get it to +30, for example. So this is the checkpoint encounter you're doing in the Duality dungeon, the final boss. The way this encounter works, and I'll show you a video here in a sec, Bellkeeper spawn, kill Bellkeepers, Bell opens, and then you go inside and match the corresponding symbol. Like you see that holographic dog. And I drew a crude map just in case. So there you go. You got sun on the top left, axe in the top right, dog on bottom left, and cup on bottom right. The builds I use for success: on Warlock we have Sunbracers. I'll hover over my mods real quick. It'll make sense as to why I use each of them. Create fonts for my teammates, Well of Life to keep myself alive, Monochromatic Maestro for a little bit extra damage. If your teammates do not have Weaken Clear, like someone on a Wither Horde, you might want to run that instead and maybe substitute for a Grenade Launcher instead of Aegis Scepter. I think all of these loadouts are interchangeable. You could go Arbalist, Funnel Web, Aegis Scepter, Frozen Orbit. You can go Lorentz Driver plus pretty much anything. Since I'm on a solar class, I'm using Cataclysmic from the Vow of the Disciple raid with Bait and Switch. Bait and Switch is really good on this encounter because you can proc the damage ahead of time. You can proc the perk ahead of time before the damage phase starts. I use Heat Rises and Icarus Dash. I know that sounds counterintuitive because you would think, oh, you're using Sunbracers, use Touch of Flame. But the problem is, I need the survivability of both of these perks to make it to the final boss phase. I also use Strafe Glide, since whenever Heat Rises is active, it's faster than Burst Glide. And then Phoenix Dive to give me and my teammates health back in a pinch. Fragments don't really matter because you're not going for a lot of ignitions, but this is what I'm running. I would ideally switch probably Char out for the one that gives me class ability back whenever I scorch targets, singeing. But this is what I'm running so far. And then Torches is great if you don't have multiple Warlocks, so I just slot that in there. All of these builds will be included in the description below, Destiny Item Manager, loadout link or whatever. So that's what Warlock's using. Again, I'll do a post-commentary run of this. This is live, by the way. Titan, pretend it's the exact same weapons. This is just a simple Synthesept build. Has Elemental Time Dilation with 3 Font of Mights. And the reason is, Hammer pretty much gets you through this alone. You can actually level crafted weapons. You're shooting guns so infrequently. So Combustion, Tempering, Torches, Wonder. And you can put anything you want here. It does not matter. I have Soul Invictus, Roaring Flames, Healing Nade, Hammer, Catapult, Towering Barricade. I think it makes sense to go through the run, then I'll do the Destiny Item Manager stuff. So this one's titled Caiatl Hammer Titan Chill Run because it was chill. These are very, very quick. So starting off, I go over to the left, instantly start the hammer, Roaring Flames is going up. I'm healing too, all the time. I have a Healing Nade if I need it in a pinch. My teammates are calling out Sun and then another one. I told them I got Sun. 2 punches to take this guy out. I don't pick up the Essence immediately sometimes if I'm in danger. If I know I'm going to live, I pick it up. Because you could always go back. But if you die with it, you got to do another run. So we killed Bellkeepers from afar. I can always punch the bell. I don't have to waste ammo to shoot it. If you can get to the deposit quick, do that. Otherwise, you want to clear a little bit of ads or throw like an AoE nade or something to the side so you can safely deposit. Because if you die, you have to go in again. So already my teammates are saying what the next grabs are. It was apparently axes. So now I got axes, using Lorentz to kill the Bellkeepers. Wasn't sure if I'd die to the Colossus to the right, so I delayed that pickup just a little bit. I'm playing on controller, by the way, so this is how chill it is. I am so reclined in my chair. Just disrespectfully shooting the bell because I'm crafting a weapon and don't need to shoot guns. So there we go. Deposit goes down. I don't have to kill these Bellkeepers because the final damage phase is about to start. You shoot the giant bell in the middle, and then you get teleported in. You don't have to assign sides to each of your teammates if you don't want to, but I find it does help. So Caiatl's rotating over to the right. I tell my teammates to make her stomp so I can get over there in time. And if I wanted to, I could have shot Caiatl already with all 3 of my guns to proc bait and switch, but it didn't look like it would matter anyway. The damage is really, really lax. So in the transition period, I'm trying to kill these sniper scions across while my teammate calls out what direction Caiatl's headed. And as you can see, I'm starting to think about proccing bait and switch, but I ended up not having to. Teammates needed some health. Very important thing there. My teammate made a elemental well on the floor, so I picked that up. Now I have solar weapon boost for 20 seconds, and I'm starting to pre-activate bait and switch. I think I missed the shot, but because it's enhanced, it activates anyway. Then I throw hammer to get the solar weapon boost, and you're just stacking all the damage bonuses. It is so lax on the damage, you don't have to do any of that. But if you do, you can make up for a teammate having less than ideal gear or maybe being under light, something like that. And your reward is, of course, high stat armor. I think I continued the transition point here just to show you what I do. So I switch characters, hit the escape key, pull that extra menu up. And I see me go to my hunter because that's where the checkpoint is. I know this seems like something you probably already know, but you might learn something new here just on this transition alone. So I load up master. Now what I do is I pull up my character screen and then double tap the escape key. This brings up the secondary menu. So now I know I can switch whenever these ships start flying. They have to leave this idle. So the ships start flying, which means I'm allowed to change characters. So then I switch back to Titan or Warlock, whatever the team needs. Load in immediately while I do all my Destiny item manager stuff. While I clear my inventory. I know I'm a little bit ahead here, so I don't have to immediately join, but you hover over until the join fire team is highlighted, and then you go. You can mess with your Destiny item manager and stuff in the meantime. And then you just run it back. Sometimes things don't go your way. But as long as you have more than enough damage, it should still be lax every time. So that time I got boots and a pulse rifle. So same thing now with the Warlock. I pop heat rises before dropping the flag so that I get another grenade for free. Double Icarus dash. Take out purple shield. Throw a grenade. I don't even care if it hits anything because I'm about to have some bracers. And then I put grenades exactly where I expect a lot of scions to land off of the platforms. I ended up liking Aegireceptor a lot because sometimes I use my melee and an enemy jumps out of the way right when I touch the melee button. So instead, if they're frozen, it's a guaranteed melee hit. Also, I think it amplifies the damage of a melee on higher tier ads. So it just helps some bracer consistency. Here we go. Put that one in the phase reel. So you got the picture already. I can skip ahead here. We finally get to boss. Okay, so boss is going over to my side. I did not have the luxury of time to make fonts. Doesn't really matter. Pre-activating bait and switch. Fun fact, learned this one from Ritz today. The damage phase starts right when you hit the bell, not when Caiatl is in her damage animation. Her susceptibility animation, whatever it is. So I transition here. hitting the snipes, waiting for a teammate call, going across. We had enough time to make a font there, but we didn't. Could have thrown a nade. Trying to have bait and switch active early. And then I think I drop a disrespect well here. Just to try and... You can kill her if this was like the third bell. You can kill her at like that much health. You just get her to stomp repeatedly and use Icarus Dash to take 0 damage. I think it was like 10 for 10 on good armor on Warlock. Just kept getting it back to back to back. Okay, so now the Destiny item manager portion of this video. The very, very, very first thing you should do is make some dedicated builds. I know that Lightfall is around the corner and the mod system is about to change, but I still play Destiny every day. So I want it to be more fun. That's in both PvP and PvE. Like I have a Gear Falcon all weapon thing. Just got an email from Bungie that said I spent too much time playing Void this season. And there's a reason why. It's because with Gear Falcon, it doesn't matter if I'm solo or with a team, it's still incredible. So yeah, I make PvP builds so that I can fit the map and the mode in the competitive playlist. Makes so much sense. And I use individual armor sets. Like I mark the individual armor dedicated to each build. And the reason for that is because when I play PvP, show you in game, I can just immediately swap the build. Like I want to go Peacekeeper build, done. Just like that. Have Peacekeepers ready to go. Want PvE, done. Again, just like that. Gonna make a video on this one. How about some Gambit, sister? Got the Gambit build ready to go. So the first thing you want to do if you're farming this Artifice armor is dedicate some builds. Your favorite builds to bring into Lightfall. The loadout system that will be in the game, it'll be somewhere over here, I don't know. Click it, it'll automatically change all of the armor, mods, shaders, whatever. You're going to have 10 options per class. So I tried to make about 10 options. My naming scheme is I put Z here so it goes to the bottom, so that way my PvE builds and junk fillers go to the top. Then Season 19, since that's when I made it. Name a build or maybe the element. The iteration of the build, which is 1. And then 0.1, meaning it's the same armor set, but a different mod. So I can use SMG or sidearm on my Bakris build, and it's the same armor, but different mods. I have 5 different Gemini builds, and I want a 6th or a 7th in Lightfall. That's how much I like this exotic. On Warlock, I have Eye Another World, Lumina, Ophidian, Osmio. See, on Lumina, I have 3 iterations of the same armor. T-Steps, I have 2 different T-Step armor sets. So what I do is I mark it on notes. That way, whenever I'm making a new build, let's go to Warlock real quick. I can see the notes. I can see what else that armor piece is used on. And this is really, really bougie, really extra. You don't have to do this unless you're serious about playing it out on Disjunction in the competitive playlist. That's the first thing you want to do. Make your notes, make your builds. Now the next thing is to delete armor that you no longer need because you are about to replace it with Artifice. So you might do that one character at a time. So what I do is in vaults, let's say is Warlock, and is stat total, something like that. Perfect, that's the one, base stat total. And then you can put one of these greater than, less than symbols. So what I want to do is let's do less than 65. So this should show a 64. This is Artifice though. I could also put is Artifice armor there, or is not Artifice armor there. This is a perfect example. This is a not Artifice armor piece that is 64, but I looked at the stat distribution here, and it's pretty good. I might honestly use that in Lightfall. So that's why I marked it as junk, but haven't deleted it yet. This one I can almost safely delete. I like that it has not a lot of mobility, but it's still very little. So that's why I would keep a piece like that. This one I can pretty safely delete because I just got an upgrade. So I will throw that over to my Titan. I hope this is helpful that I'm doing it live. And that frees up a vault space. So you do this on all 3 characters ideally, and you're going to watch your vault space go from like 600 to 450. And then you're slowly going to refill it as you play Titan, Warlock, and Hunter. So as you're farming this, you want your Ghost mod to change. So if I have to explain the armor stat roll formula real quick. Top 3 stats are in a separate bucket. Bottom 3 stats are in a separate bucket. So on Titan and Warlock, for example, you want low mobility, high resilience, high recovery. So you want 2 out of 3 stats on the top, but I might want 1 out of the 3 stats on the bottom. Like, I don't care about intellect or strength, I only want discipline. If that's the case, I think it's smarter to do a discipline mod on the Ghost. Because you're making it more likely that discipline has a very high spike, so it makes it unlikely that you'll have a high intellect or strength. And since the top 3 and the bottom 3 are half of the total, separate buckets, that's just a more economic way to do it. However, you're not wrong if you just put Recov and go for it on all builds, because almost every build in this game likes Recov, other than Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves. Anything else to think of while it's Master Caiatl here? Okay, jump cutting here because I forgot a very important piece of information. After every single run, I refresh dim while I've typed in exactly what I want my loadout minimums and maximums to be to see if the new armor piece changes the math. So let me explain what I'm trying to build here real quick. I am trying to build a Peacekeeper setup that has very high intellect and uses Dynamo on the helmet and distribution on the class item, because the goal with it is to use the thruster ability to try to get the fastest super possible while maintaining 5 mobility, 10 resilience, 10 recovery, as high discipline as I can get it with 8 or 9 intellect, and as low strength as possible. That's the build I'm going for. So after every single Caiatl run, I hit refresh on this tab and see if it improves it. Yes, D2 Armor Picker is great, but it doesn't include the notes I make with my armor, so I have to do this manually anyway. You'll see if I put 3 mobility, recently one of the pieces I got to drop did tip this to a tier 32. But the reason I'm not pulling the trigger on this build is because if I want this to work interchangeably with a Bubble Titan, so that I can get exactly to 5 mobility when I include the fragments, I want 2 mobility to be my maximum. Even though this would work with my Thruster Titan if I pulled the trigger on this. And yes, it really does have to be tier 32. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. In case you're watching this video in a future week, there is another farm, and that's the Cowboy Dungeon. Spire of the Watcher. Do the intro part on Master, and then the second Ascent part, you can pretty much do with an Eager Edge Sword only. All you do is climb, takes about a minute and a half, shoot some wire nodes going all the way up, and you can also farm armor. That section is most efficient on Hunter. So if I had to say priority, get your Titan done, your Warlock done first, because Hunter has a decent repeatable farm, though I will warn you. Let me show you Artifice armor here. I will warn you that the quality of the armor, the total stat, is typically lower than Caiatl. Caiatl, I feel like I get 65s and 66s almost every single run. But on the Cowboy Dungeon, I feel like it's 61 to 64 often. And occasionally, this is why this has the keep symbol, you will get a 66. So Hunter has a perpetual way to farm this season, whereas Titan and Warlock, it's a little more efficient to be doing Caiatl. Still more efficient to be doing Caiatl on all 3 classes, but if you're tight on time, definitely prioritize Warlock and Titan over Hunter this week. Obviously, if Hunter's your favorite, just continue playing Hunter. I think that covers everything. Except I don't have a good Hunter build for Caiatl. So if you have a great suggestion on what makes farming Caiatl easy on Hunter, as far as ad clear and survivability, suggest that below in the comment section. I was thinking Caliban's. I know Gear Falcon is the flavor of the PvE month or whatever, but if I go invisible, the room shoots at my teammates, so maybe it isn't a good idea. Just give me some suggestions down below. It's much appreciated. Also, the Nightfall this week is Malicious Birthright. So if you use the double grenade launcher setup, it is well worth getting one with Frenzy and Slideways. Of course, ignition code's always available from Dares, but good luck getting that. I've talked too much on this video. I will see you in the next one. I might be streaming this. Take care.